Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us here at Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. Today, Tom Morrison is here with us, and we have been talking about pensions, unsubstantiated debt. Michael Brown, what were you saying? What number were you giving us? How much are we behind in our payments in Illinois?
Well, Judy Bar-Topinka recently released a memo indicating that they're $8 billion behind in unpaid bills. These are bills that would normally come out of the general fund, which is also supposed to take care of our roads, but that fund has been raided to cover the pensions.
Not only rated, but Madigan just floated a bond issue of $3.7 billion to keep this outrage of pensions floating for one more year. Continue that process and you'll see a year where it'll be $40 billion. I mean, this whole thing is impossible. It's going over a cliff.
We're killing our bond
One
rating.
thing, let me say, because Tom in between brought up the fact that it seems like I might be attacking teachers. Quite the reverse. It is the teachers' union. It isn't their union. It is a stinking IEA that has caused this trouble because of their operation as an unrestrained administrator of how these things are going. The IEA has bragged that it is strong enough to elect their own bosses. In other words, the taxpayers and the parents and the kids and the teachers have lost complete control of the IEA union. Let me say again, it isn't the teachers' fault. It's the stinking union and the way it has been set up and the interlocking of the union feeding money into the politicians. Where do they get the money? From the teachers' dues. That's what they do. Am I picking on teachers? No. I've said many times that the only reason this lousy system, worst managed organization in the whole state, is K-12. Nothing approaches it in its bad handling, not only of pensions, but of buildings, repairs, anything you want to mention. I've done a long study on this through the Family Taxpayer Foundation. Over the last 40 years, I've been involved in the evil increase of the union power. But it still operates, and it only operates, I would say, have said many times, 50% of the teachers in the system are saints, and they're operating in a lousy quality, poorly managed system. I've said the other half of the teachers have kind of retired while still on the payroll. But there is a great deal of integrity in many individuals involved in the education of our kids. And it is that integrity that makes this thing work at all with such a lousy system. How would you like to be like young teachers that are entering the system and paid a pretty good salary of say, $44,000 a year? But in the next room is some outdated teacher who long ago gave up any interest in anything except their pension, who is being paid $90 or $100 or maybe as much as $145,000 in the next room, and they're easily recognized as having given up on the job long ago. Nobody likes to work in a system where quality is out the window. It's nothing but union seniority.
Right. Well, it's not performance-based. It goes on tenure and all these other things. And
well, I should say, I mean, this past spring, we actually did pass a bill that had pretty wide acceptance and agreement from a lot of those teachers who did recognize that they do not want to use tenure as an insurmountable barrier to letting someone go who really shouldn't be there any longer.
Right.
And so I had individual teachers from my district come to my office, tell me that they do want to support bills like that and reform measures like that because it elevates the profession.
It's not a profession the way it's operating. There's only 6 or 7 teachers a year that are fired.
Right.
The process that the union
what I'm saying is, though, this bill that we passed that was signed into law does make it easier to let people go who should not be in the classroom.
Should not be there.
It's
not. That is a good thing. That is proactive and positive and part of the solution to this problem. But now,
and I think on the pension issue, we have to do the same thing. When I talk to rank and file teachers from my district, and I lay out the facts on how badly underfunded these pension plans are, They get it. They
get it.
really do.
Back in the spring, we did
Do
a
they get the
pension
idea
reform.
that it's their own union that has caused this harm
Yes.
to the pensions of the individual teachers? The union is the
Yeah.
enemy of the teachers.
Yeah.
Who would believe that?
You know what? Some of them do get it. And our organization, we have several teachers, and they understand exactly what we're talking about. But being a teacher,
Look
it is
at the
very
power
hard
they're
for-
facing.
It's
the
hard
entire
for them
Republic.
to come out.
They don't
But
have
the
a choice
Democrat
either.
Party
They don't have a
downstate
choice.
under Madigan supports the unions totally. He's been behind all of this crap. It's Madigan that pushed through the $3.7 billion additional debt in order to keep this travesty of a pension system running. That $3.7 billion should have gone in to pay the bills of the
Right.
people that are laying in a bed somewhere in a government facility, people who actually need help. Aren't being taken care of, while the crummy union and Madigan are increasing our debt.
And that's just for day-to-day expenses, right? We're kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the show, we talked about how irresponsible it is for a business or a family to take on so much debt, and
Right.
we've been doing that as a state and as a federal government. We are borrowing money just to pay our ongoing bills.